everyone, and welcome back to the channel for another video. Now this is going to be my sort of 10 tips of things to do to get ready for update 10. Now I did one of these in preparation for update 9 and people seem to really enjoy it, but it's going to be very similar with some of the things that are kind of tips in here. However, there are a few changes as this update we are not getting Daisy Duck in a realm. That was a bit of a different thing we had to cover in the last video with the Monsters Inc. realm, but this one will just be my overall 10 tips to get ready for both the base game update and the DLC. So let's get started. So my first tip is to prepare for the star path with collecting Night Thorns and Splinters of Fate. Now in the star path we know we're getting one. We always have tasks to clear Night Thorns. Now, these can take such a long time to do because Night Thorns obviously grow over time. So while you're playing every single day, you might have a new one pop up, but they do kind of take their time to accumulate in your valley. Now, in the Star Path, we usually get at least 2 tasks to clear Night Thorns, and actually the Splinters of Fate in the DLC also count towards this, as they're kind of like their own version of a Night Thorn, but in Eternity Isle. So what I have been doing, and what I'd highly recommend, is not removing any Night Thorns and any Splinters of Fate as we prepare for the update. Now, this can really suck because when your valley is looking great, or you've built an area that you really, really like, and there's just Night Thorns everywhere, or Splinters of Fate everywhere, it can be a bit upsetting because it's like, oh, I've just spent all this time on this area, and I now have Night Thorns everywhere. Trust me, I'm at that point at the moment where I'm kind of running around and I keep getting blocked where I'm running because of Night Thorns. However, I promise you when the Star Path comes out, it will be worth it. It means you can get those Night Thorn tasks done quickly, which then means you can obviously get the kind of points you need to unlock the items in the Star Path a lot quicker. So I would highly recommend doing this, and the ones in the DLC county as well is perfect because they seem to spawn a lot over the Eternity Isle biomes, so that both of those will work for you. Tip number 2 is to make sure your friendship levels are at level 10, however specifically Mickey and friends. Now usually in my kind of update tips videos I always say try and get all the characters to level 10, make sure they're all done, because you never know what quests are going to come that are going to link to other characters. So for example, you may get a quest with Daisy where you have to talk to Olaf, or you have to talk to Jack Skellington, and you can't do that unless they're up to date and they're level 10. However, I would say do all of them, but that can be a big challenge. But I would say Mickey and friends is probably very important, so especially Donald Duck and any other of Mickey and friends, so Mickey, Minnie, Goofy, Scrooge, I feel like they are going to be the ones that we are going to need to do quests with. Now, as Daisy is not coming in a realm, it could potentially mean that the quest to get her is probably going to be linked to Mickey and friends, probably mainly Donald or Scrooge. So I feel like having those level 10 is going to allow you to get her a lot more seamlessly, and you don't have to worry too much about doing tasks with other characters before you can get Daisy. Now tip number 3 is a simple one. It's one that most people do anyway in the game, and that is to collect Dreamlight and Star Coins. Now as the character isn't coming in a realm, Dreamlight isn't as important to kind of stock up on, because usually you stock up on it to be able to unlock the doors to go and see them. However, it is still important to get in case we need to craft anything for quests and unlock anything in the valley. You never know, we may need to use it for something. Obviously star coins are always important to be collecting so you can continue to buy things, but star coins will be really important this time around because we are getting 2 characters, one in the base game and one in the DLC, and most of the time Scrooge will make you pay to build their home. So when you're placing their home in their valley, you'll go up to the sign and you will pay usually around 20,000 star coins to unlock their home. And so with 2 characters coming, you want to make sure you have enough to get both their houses placed down. Now tip number 4 kind of goes for both the DLC and the base game, but it is just to have a good storage of all of your resources. Now with a new character coming, sometimes their quest lines do involve you kind of crafting different items or kind of collecting resources to give to them. So having a good stock of all the resources in the game really benefits you, because sometimes I'll get a quest and it's telling me to go and get a bunch of a certain resource, and I know I can just go to my storage, grab it, and then the quest is like progressed a lot quicker, and it just makes things a lot more simple for me. It also means if we do get anything new that's craftable, then we can make that quicker and kind of catch up with all those things a lot quicker. But having it in a storage room is always really helpful, just to keep everything organized and make sure you have everything in stock. Tip number 5 is moving on to the kind of DLC base tips, and this is to make sure your DLC questline is done for Act 1. Now, when we first got the DLC, we got the first act line of the storyline, which was Act 1, where we kind of introduced ourselves to Eternity Isle, we saw the holograms of Jafar, we met the different characters, and we ended off, spoiler alert if you haven't got there, but we did end off kind of outside Jafar's palace, and we can't get in, and we kind of now have a potion that we need to give to Merlin, and we don't really know what we're doing yet with it. So when we get that update, these things are going to be important, so making sure you are caught up on that quest line and you are up to date means that when the update does come out, you can just go straight into Act 2 and progress through to the next set of the storyline. As well as focusing on the quests of the DLC, tip number 6 is to make sure you're collecting DLC resources. Now in Eternity Isle, in all the 3 different biomes, there are lots of resources to collect. The DLC gave us so much new resources, craftables, fruit and veg, everything. It gave us so much stuff to kind of collect from and use for different things in the game. Now, having a good stock of these resources means that if we do get anything in the DLC questline that we need to craft, or anything to do with the new character that's coming, it means you have everything stocked up and ready to go. Obviously, a lot of the DLC items are quite difficult to get, especially the time-bending items, or some of the gems are quite rare to get a drop of. So kind of collecting these where you can is great, and it will save you a lot of time, but I know the DLC is pretty hard to keep stock of everything. I've kind of just done a big storage room for it because I needed more space, and some things I have a huge amount of and some things I only have like a stack or half a stack of, because they are difficult to get, which is understandable. But having a good stock of everything means hopefully if we do get anything new that's craftable in the DLC, you'll be able to make those or anything you need for the upcoming quest lines. Talking of DLC resources, tip number 7 is to collect Mist. So the same as I was saying earlier with the Dreamlight and the Star Coins, Mist is kind of another currency in the game to be able to collect. Now Mist is, I find personally, it's so hard to collect Mist purely because I use the ancient farming machines and the cooking machines, which just drains your Mist so quickly. But collecting Mist is actually really easy. So if you do the daily tasks in Eternity Isle, it will grant you Mist. If you go around and you break the swirling sands, they pretty much always give you Mist. If you go time bending with a friend who's got the time bending roll and you collect any Mist from that, they will drop you extra. Mist isn't that difficult to collect. It's actually, in my opinion, easier to get than Dreamlight shards, but they do kind of deplete very quickly if you're crafting everything or you're using the ancient machines. But kind of getting a good stock of Mist is helpful, because when we unlocked the biomes in the DLC, we had to spend a huge amount of Mist to get all the areas unlocked. Some of them were like 10,000 Mist just for a very small area. Now with the second act, obviously there's nothing on our map we can really see that signifies we are going to have to unlock any new areas, except in Ancient's Landing there's that little rock ruins area, which I'm very curious to see if that does open up and become anything, because it does look very suspicious. Tip number 8 is again about the DLC, but it is to make sure all the DLC characters are unlocked. Obviously in the DLC we did get Rapunzel, Eve and Gaston, so getting all of these 3 to level 10 is really going to help, because it feels like they're probably going to have a part to play in Act 2 of the storyline. From the kind of promotional image we got a photo of the character with these 3 kind of DLC characters all stood in front of kind of an ancient door, an ancient gateway, so it feels like they are going to have a part to play in this act. Now I don't know if they have to be level 10 and completely up to date in order to use them for this quest. It may be completely irrelevant. You could possibly have them like level 2 and the Act 2 storyline won't be affected. So don't quote me on it. You may not need to get into level 10. However, I just personally wanted them level 10, so I knew that they were completely finished. I had them up to date. I had all the items I wanted to get from their kind of friendship line, and kind of make sure everything in the DLC was up to date before Act 2 commenced. However, as I said, it may not be required, so if they're not level 10, do not panic. Now tip number 9 is kind of linking back to the previous thing I was talking about, Mist, and I sort of briefly mentioned about all the areas of the DLC biomes that we had to unlock with Mist. A lot of them were kind of at the back of the different biomes, or they were these really small areas that we had to spend a lot to unlock. Now getting these unlocked is really important, because we may not know what areas we need to use in order to kind of progress the storyline. So a lot of these we did have to unlock for Act 1, so if you've completed Act 1, you've probably unlocked everywhere by now, realistically. But if you haven't, obviously unlocking these areas will help you get Act 1 completed, ready for Act 2 to come out in the next update. Now, the final tip, which obviously is not mandatory, but it's just something to get you hyped and get you excited, at least it does for me, it is to make space for the houses for the new villagers we are going to be getting. Now, obviously in the base game, we know we are getting Daisy Duck. Now, we don't know if she's going to be living in Donald's boat with him or getting her own kind of house or something, but I feel like she's probably going to get her own home because I feel like she'd have a really cute house. But getting space ready for her. Now, I have a kind of like Mickey and Friends little Toontown area that I'm going to pop her in, but I need to kind of rearrange it all because also in the DLC we are potentially getting Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. That's what it kind of looks like it's going to be, and if that is so, I would like to keep him with Mickey and Friends in his house. So making space for these characters either in the DLC biomes or in your main valley is important and kind of gets you hyped to get them into your valley and get everything ready for them. So those are my top 10 tips for kind of getting prepared for update 10. Now, we don't yet know, as of when I'm recording this, when update 10 is dropping. They may tell us whilst this video is being made. If it does, then I apologize, I'll put it in the description. But as of this recording, they have not yet told us when the DLC update is going to be, so we aren't sure. I'm not quite sure yet if it's going to be this Wednesday because that's only like 2 days away and they haven't said yet. If not, it will probably be the following Wednesday, but we will have to see. I feel like this Wednesday would be super exciting, but you never know with Disney Dreamlight Valley, so we will see. But these update tips will help get you ready for the update, or even when the update does launch. They're just some tips to kind of help you on your way and make things a little bit easier and a little bit more fun to progress for you, so you can unlock everything that the update is going to have in store. Let me know down below what you guys are doing to prepare for the update, and are you excited for the update? Is there anything you're looking forward to? Is there anything that you're curious about? And anything that you're just really excited to see? I personally am very, very excited for Act 2 of the DLC storyline. I feel like Act 1 was so good and just I really, really loved it. So I'm really excited for that. But obviously I am excited in the base game to get Daisy Duck finally, be able to kind of get her into the valley and also complete the star path, which is obviously always great, and see what's coming in the premium shop. Those are probably my top excitements, so hopefully it comes soon. Make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you so much for the support on the channel. We have now hit 800 subscribers, which is crazy. It's just crazy, but I thank you all so much. It genuinely means a lot. Just so you guys know, there are now membership options on the channel. No one is ever obligated to be a member. Trust me, it's fine. You guys just being here and being subbed and commenting and liking and everything you do is more than appreciated, but the option is there for those of you who want to, and everything that kind of gets put into the channel will be kind of reimbursed into the channel by upgrading different things of my content, like potentially getting a webcam, a new mic. Everything's being invested back in, so any support is genuinely appreciated, but never expected. On that note though, make sure you like and subscribe. Let me know down below what you're excited for, and I will see you all in the next one, which may be when the update's out. We never know. Have a good week. Bye.